39-year-old Jason Allen of West Pueblo, Colorado, entered an art competition at the Colorado State Fair. When he went to browse the submissions in person, he was surprised to find a first-place ribbon by his entry, Space Opera Theater. He got $300 in prize winnings and an international firestorm of criticism on Twitter. That's because his entry was created with artificial intelligence. Hi everyone, I'm Jeff, and this is Plain English, lesson number 508. JR is the producer, and he has uploaded the full and complete lesson to plainenglish.com/508. Coming up today, are images generated with artificial intelligence really art? Prize-winning artist Jason Allen thinks so. The judges in his art competition think so too. But not everyone agrees. Today, we'll talk about what AI-generated art really is. In the second half of the lesson, I'll show you how to use the English phrasal verb sift through, and we have a quote of the week. Let's get going. This new technology-driven form of art is controversial among artists and critics. It's causing people to worry that art is dying, that with only a tiny bit of effort, just anyone could create something that earlier would have required effort, intention, and a human touch. A French art critic calls it art's mortal enemy. Another worries that painters will have nothing more to do after this new technology becomes popular. But these critics aren't talking about artificial intelligence. They were speaking in the late 1800s. They were talking about photography. Their words were eerily similar to the reaction on social media to Mr. Allen's AI-generated prize-winning image. We are watching the death of artistry unfold before our eyes, one Twitter user wrote. Another said it was so gross that Mr. Allen would use artificial intelligence to generate an image and then claim to be an artist. But Mr. Allen followed all of the rules of the competition and even disclosed exactly how he made his image. He said his image was created via Midjourney, an AI generator. The judges of the competition didn't know that Midjourney was artificial intelligence, but they said Mr. Allen deserves the prize one way or another. What exactly is the controversy? Artists have long used computers to create, edit, and enhance images. After all, Mr. Allen's painting was submitted to a category for digital art. The controversy is this. With existing forms of digital art, a person creates an image with the help of a computer. But with artificial intelligence, a computer creates the image. And so critics believe that if a computer creates the image, then the image is not the work of a person. And if it's not the work of a person, then it can't be art. AI supporters, however, beg to differ. They admit that a computer creates the image, but a person programs the computer. A person gives the computer detailed instructions, and a person selects among many potential images. That all requires human judgment, and that's the art. To understand their argument, it's helpful to understand how artificial intelligence can create an image or a piece of art. Artificial intelligence, in any application, looks for deep patterns that are not visible to humans, at least not at large scales. Any AI application must be trained to spot patterns, and it needs a large volume of inputs to learn from. So here's how this works with art. First, all AI generators start with a database of images. This is a large range of paintings, photographs, drawings, whatever. So a person decides what images to feed into the system. A person is in charge of deciding what the AI system will learn from. Next, a person has to catalog and label the images so that the computer knows what it's looking at. Next, often, a person will give the program instructions on how to generate an image. Only then can a computer learn to create images. All that is the programming and the preparation. A person then tells the computer what to create. It's common to give a system a set of keywords to follow. Then, the computer creates many images that it thinks match those keywords. A person then must sift through the massive output of the computer and determine which of the images to save and which to discard. After this final step, the world sees the AI-generated image. So let me ask you, does that sound like just clicking a button? Or does that sound like a form of artistry? To me, it sounds like a new form of artistry. The parallel with photography is instructive here. Yes, to create a photograph, you load a camera with film, point it at something, press a button, and chemically develop the film. But photography is a generally accepted genre of fine arts today because it takes a human's touch to create a true piece of photographic art. If you doubt that's true, I invite you to look at a lifetime of my travel pictures. There are many photographs, but there is no art. I've read some studies that say people generally can't tell the difference between human-generated images and AI-generated images. And not only that, but people often prefer the AI images to the ones created directly by an artist. Now, the thing to remember here is that AI-generated art is its own category. Nobody looks at a Monet painting and says, this isn't as realistic as a photograph. And nobody looks at a photograph and says, I wish I could see the brushstrokes. People understand that a photograph and a painting are two different things, two different categories, and you can appreciate both at the same time. I think we'll get there with AI art. It will be its own category. The image associated with this lesson on plainenglish.com was created by the AI generator hotpot.ai. The keywords I fed into the system were baseball in the Milky Way. I figured baseball and Milky Way were common enough terms, but rarely combined. I thought it would create a unique image from commonly understood terms. So tell me what you think. It's the main image at plainenglish.com/508. Today's English expression is to sift through. When you have a large number of items, but only a small percentage of those items is useful, you sift through the items. You look for what is useful. You're looking for a small number of useful things in a large number of things in total. When police investigate crimes, they have to sift through the evidence to see what can provide clues about the crime. Imagine someone sees a dead body in the woods. The police get to the scene of the crime and they find an empty bottle. Then they find a loose strand of hair. A bit farther, they find a discarded cell phone. Someone nearby gives a statement about what was happening on the previous night. The cell phone company provides the victim's cell phone records. Not all of this will be useful. In fact, most of it will not be useful. But the police have to sift through the evidence to find clues about what happened. They have to look through many, many pieces of evidence and separate out only the pieces of evidence that are useful to the investigation. If there's one English expression that describes the last few weeks of my life, it's sift through. I haven't mentioned this before, but I'm moving, and not across town, but to another country. I'm moving this week from Chicago to Mexico City. I don't have the luxury of keeping all my belongings. I had to sift through my clothes to save only the items that give me joy. Marie Kondo would be proud. I sifted through old photographs from previous vacations, going back a long time. I had lots of printed photographs and lots of useless ones too, like photographs of a random tree on a hill I don't remember, photographs that were blurry, photographs that didn't appear to show anything at all. But hidden in the middle of all that junk, there were photographs that were meaningful. So I had to sift through the photos to save the ones that were valuable, to save the ones that reminded me of previous travels or that brought back good memories. I only saved about 1 in 10 pictures, but the ones I saved are valuable to me. Earlier today, we debated whether images created with artificial intelligence are really art. I made the argument that they are. And one reason is that the computer generates many, many images in response to a single prompt. But the artist has to sift through all the generated images and choose the one that fits his or her vision. There are some AI image generators, like the one I used, where you just type a few words and it creates one image. But most AI artists will do a lot more work, and the computers will generate many, many images. And it's the artist's job to sift through all the computer-generated images and pick out the ones that truly capture the artist's vision. Today's quote comes from George Bernard Shaw, an Irish playwright. He says, "Life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself." That showed up as a prompt in my journal app. It's common for people to say in English that they have to find themselves. And that often comes when they're unhappy or directionless. But this quote frames it in a different way. George Bernard Shaw says, "Life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself." And that brings us to the end of today's lesson, number 508, for Monday, October 3rd, 2022. And I think this is going to be a great topic for an upcoming live call with Plus members. So here's what I think we'll do. We'll use an artificial intelligence engine to create an image of our own. Don't worry, it's not hard. And then we'll talk about the images that we create. So that will be the live call on Saturday, October 22nd. This is the live conversation call that's part of the Plus membership. So if you're planning to join that call, check the instructions in your email or the dashboard for this call. And if you're not a Plus member yet, then consider this your invitation. You can join us on Saturday the 22nd and for all future live conversation calls, and you can sign up at plainenglish.com/plus, PLUS. That's it for today. See you back here for a new lesson on Thursday.